So good morning, everybody, to this early morning session. Research 4 about student characteristics. We have 3 presentations. The first one is by Giorgio Monti, that is on my by my side, and it's about the early enrolling students and the effect on the scores, on the student scores. But he also included some other sources like the parental style. In the second presentation, the 4 authors, Delia, Girardi, Balenzano, and Disano, explores the impact of the social cultural economic background on the performance in English. And in the third presentation, we're going to see to analyze the case of Trento, good performance, but thanks to which factors. So a message to all the participants: if you want to make some questions, just raise your hands at the end of each presentation. It's 20 minutes each presentation, and so I'll give way to Giorgio Monti.
Thank you. Can you hear me? I hope everything is fine. I will present this work. It's the Italian regional divide in education, the role of school starting age. Actually, it will be more precise. It will be like dividing the INVALSI test scores. Why I decided to present this and to focus on the role of the school starting age, because there is first of all, we all know that there is a gap between North and South. Yes, already in fifth primary school, and already in some cases in the second grade. And also literature has told us that the school starting age has a role indeed on scores in standardized score, but also in non-cognitive cognitive skills, has consequences that could be also long-lasting. And in Italy, we have a geographic heterogeneity, also a school starting age. Even if the system is national, so regions do not have any power in deciding the rules in enrollment, we will see that there is a strong heterogeneity. Then I investigate whether the effect of age, so the effect of age is heterogeneous, change because of the closures. So if the closures due to COVID-19 affected more younger students, relatively younger students, and also why in the South parents enroll their children earlier to primary school. So, and I hypothesize a difference in parenting style as defined by Debke and Zilibotti in 2017 in a seminal paper. So how does it work, the Italian roller system? School starting age is 6. I will go fast here. Classes start in September. And if the child is born between May and December, turns 6 between May and December, he has to be enrolled that year to primary school. From 2006, from the Riforma Moratti, children who turn 6 before the 30th of April of the following year, so can be enrolled at 5 also. That's a so-called anticipo scolastico. Before 2006, also the anticipo was possible. It worked in a different way, since it was not an early enrollment, but was just a skip of the first year with an examination, which allowed the children to be enrolled directly to the second grade at 6 instead of at 7. This is what you still can do if your child is born after the 30th of April, but we'll see it's not much used. The Moratti reform. This is the map of early entrance. As we can see, the darker provinces have higher rates of early entrance. The heterogeneity is huge. There are some provinces with more than 70% 70% of born between January and April were enrolled, and provinces with lower than 5%. So it's very, very big heterogeneity, which creates heterogeneity in the average age of classes, of course, at the same grade. The effect of the moratory reform using INVALSI, I could only look at born in April, how it changed when the born in April were allowed to be enrolled. We can see that the percentage of early enrollers born in April doubled. Here the year is year of enrollment at in the 8th grade. So the INVALSI reform was started from 2004 2005. So 2005 2006 for born in April. So you can see how it doubled the percentage of early entrants. We can see that the effect is much bigger in the south. The south is blue. April born in the south are blue. Green line is the April born in the north who are enrolled. So of course it doubled also in the north, but the percentage doesn't go that much high. It only stays at 5%. Whereas in the south it comes from 12, 13 to 25%. So the effect there is much bigger. However, I'm only using data after the moratory reform, since before the cohort before moratory reform, we don't have any data for primary school from INVALSI, because INVALSI started after the moratory reform. Okay, the first determinants of the early enrollment is, of course, the month of birth. We can see that born in January are much more likely to be early enrollers, especially in the south. 8 kids born in January out of 10 are early enrollers. So the month of birth is, of course, the first determinants of an enrollment. But doing several regressions on other parental characteristics, we see that more educated parents are more likely to enroll their child. The same with socioeconomic status. So this is true for both south and north. Even in the south, of course, is more significant. It's higher. It's more the importance of the parents' education on the probability of being enrolled is higher. So what we can see here, if I do the simple average of scores by month of birth, without looking at the age of the year of birth, this is the plot for 2nd and 5th grade. We see that the difference in scores, if you look at born between May and December, who are all the same age, from the north and the south, they cannot choose an enrollment, so they are all of the same age. The difference is in the 2nd grade is almost zero. Actually, it's zero in the most of the years. Here I pulled all the years from 2012 to 2018. So you have altogether a standardized score by year. So, and you can see that when you look instead of born between January and April, this gap increase a lot. And this is because, of course, in the south, a lot of those kids are 1 year younger. Okay. So what the question is how much of the gap we see in the INVALSI report is just due to difference in age. So of course, especially in later stages, the gap is mostly due to other economic outcome, socioeconomic status difference, and school quality between north and south. But how much? The question was how much is due to difference in average age, and I used the difference in difference strategy, looking at the difference in score between not eligible to an enrollment and difference in score between eligible in enrollment. And I see that before I see if the linear effect of age of score is equal in the south and in the north, and this is actually true with a very small difference in the linear effect of age of score. Sorry if I go fast. And then I look at difference in difference. For this is for 2nd grade, 2012 to 2018. We can see that the difference in the Italian scores, if you look also only at born not eligible, so born between May and December, it's column 4, first row, so it's 0.04 standard deviation. the score is higher in the north. In format, there is no difference. Whereas if you look at the interaction between south and eligible, so on born between January and April, we have a huge increase that make the overall difference. So column 3 and 5 are the overall gap. So if you just do the mean in the south, the mean in the north overall, we see that Italian, in the north, the score in Italian is bigger than is higher by 0.09 standard deviation and by 0.04 standard deviation for mathematics. But if you look only at people of the same age, students of the same age, this difference is null for scoring mathematics and is less than the half for the score in Italian. Of course, the effect of age for 5th grader is lower. So this is also the effect of the percentage of the gap explained by early entrance in 5th grade is lower. But I do also analysis by year. So this is the percentage of the gap explained by a difference in age per year. We can see that for 2nd grade comes from 16% in 2013 to 60% in 2016 for Italian in 2nd grade. For mathematics, it comes from 16 in 2013 to in 2014. There is this big value because there is actually a gap in favor of the South that is transformed in a gap that because of age. So what I mean is that if you look only students born between May and December, students in the South have a mean which is slightly higher than in the North. If we look at the overall gap, the North still has a smaller advantage. But I mean, it's a very important, the percentage of the gap explained by age, especially in 2nd grade. This is lower in the 5th grade. It comes from 5% to 28% 2016. And for Italian, and from 10% to 50% in mathematics in 5th grade. So preliminary result about COVID, that I'm going fast here. There is no evidence actually. The coefficient for age on scores doesn't change much. I look at different regions with had different percentage of different number of day of school closure. Puglia and Campania had a very big number of a very large number of days stay a lot closed, much more than Sicily, Lombardy, and Piemonte. Sicily is in intermediate between Campania, Puglia, and Lombardy and Piemonte, but still, that even looking at other factors, it doesn't look there is a higher effect of closures on younger students. So I'm going now about the possible reason about the difference in enrollment. What I look is parenting style. So I use PISA questionnaire to look at parental support in 1st grade and 5th and the moment of the service, so at the age of 15. And I also look at other outcome. And I also use the same data set used by Depke and Botti from World Value Survey. First of all, this is the early entrance parental support of 1st grade and early entrance and current parental support. We see there is a positive relations. Of course, I only use data of students born between June and December, so not eligible for early enrollment, because of course the parental support may depend on early enrollment. If I decide to enroll my child, maybe I put more support in as a consequence instead of as a cause. So I only use data on students born between May and December. And also I look then this is the difference in support between regular and early enrollers by macro area, much bigger between early enrollers, even for current support, so support at 15 years of age. This is an index already done by Oxa in the PISA test, so I haven't created the variable. Further evidence about parenting style, the share of, using the same definition by Depke and Botti, the share of permissive parents is 30%, 37% in Central and North Italy. It's only 17% in the South. So you know that the share of early entrance is the share of permissive parents is correlated with lower inequality higher social mobility. And I assume that my hypothesis is that the less permissive the parent is, the more likely he is to early enroll his child to primary school. This is also coherent with the fact that in country where the share of permissive parents is very high, the school entrance age is much higher, is about 7 or 8 years of age. And also the share of early entrance has the same correlation of more authoritarian parenting styles. So higher inequality, lower social mobility, and higher return to education. In the South, we know that the return to education is supposed to be, there are several papers who show that return to education in the South is higher. So it's a more competitive environment in terms of education in the South. And that's why more educated parents may want to enroll earlier, thinking of an enrollment as a factor of a competitive advantage for the children. And we look at this correlation between early entry and social mobility. ECS is an index. The higher the index, the lower the social mobility. Is the informational content of surnames made by Guel and Pellizzari. We see the correlation, positive correlation is true also within macro areas. And the same is true looking at inequality, the coefficient of the 75th percentile over the 25th. So sorry if I go long. Significant part of the north-south gap is due to difference in age, especially in the second grade. Even if there is also selection, there is other paper I didn't put in this presentation for question of time, but we'll look at the selection, and I control that even if there is selection, early enrollers do not recover better than the others, so they just lose the points for the test. COVID-19 may have effect, but there is no actually preliminary result about this. And the choice is likely to be related with parenting styles, with less permissive parents more likely to enroll their child. It's also correlated with other economic factors such as lower social mobility and higher inequality. So thanks again. Sorry for having gone long. It's fine. Okay, perfect.
Thanks, Giorgio. There's a lot of food for the brain in few slides. So I think we need a few minutes to think about questions. But in the meanwhile, first of all, I want to confirm that I am an early enrolled student, and my mother is from the South, so I confirm the literature. And I was not so good in the few.
I am an early enroller. I'm from Palermo, so
we confirm the literature. And I was not so good in the first year, so the gaps in the line in your graph by month of birth, I confirm it. First of all, I want to make some questions when we waiting for the others. When you're presenting the difference in difference, something catch my attention. That is the R squared. That is much higher in Italian compared to mathematics. Yeah, 0.213 on the third column at the end.
No, okay, that one is the difference. No, okay, that one is a difference for age. So I just look that for by construction is that signs in the coefficient, of course.
Yeah.
I mean, the first column is the overall difference in age between the two cohorts, North and South. So this means that in the South, the students are 1.4 months younger on average than in the North. And so the dependent variable is the age in months. And you see that for construction, that coefficient, the COM2 means that the first row means that if you will look only at students born between May and December, there is no difference in age because early enrollment is not allowed. And that we see how, of course, eligible is by construction 0.4, meaning the difference in average age between eligible and non-eligibles in the North. So they are, of course, older by definition, because it's born between January and April. And so that's why the R square is so higher, because there is a straightforward relation. Eligible and age are by construction related. Okay, so now this different scoring math is 0.06, 0.009. So yeah, it's a bit different, but not that much. Maybe in the second grade. No, also here is. Yes.
I mean, the variability explained. So
I mean, in the column where the variable is age of months.
Okay.
Of course, it explains much more variability, because eligible is a variable is created from age of months. So.
Okay.
It was just I just did this because I didn't do it here, but the coefficient of scoring Italian and scoring mathematics of the interaction is actually very similar to the linear effect of age multiplied by the difference of age in months. So actually the effect of the gap, the decreasing the gap is just very coherent with the linear effect of age, meaning that the early, this is coherent with the fact, consistent with the fact that the early enrollers have the same linear effect of age on their scores, and they do not, even if there is selection, they do not recover better than the others. The effect of age on them is just the same as for the average guy.
Okay. We have a question? Manuel, microphone.
Thanks for the very interesting presentation. I have just a question. Here? Oh, in front of the camera. Hello. Yeah, I don't know where I should look at, but I'll try to do it like that so you can have both. Anyway, so the question is, as far as I know, a lot of children in southern Italy anticipating primary school has got to do with the fact that they can't have access to early childcare services 0 to 2. And they go to kindergarten because it's free of cost. So there's this huge gap on that. So I was wondering, when you look at factors explaining what happens, if you could add a variable asking if they went to nurseries 0 to 2.
Yeah, I control for the year of kindergarten they've done.
No, I mean, nurseries is 0 to 2. And then kindergarten would be 3 to 5, or in the south, you anticipate to 2.5, thanks to Moradi reform.
Actually,
because there is a lot of literature saying that if you've gone to 0 to 2, that would help your performance in primary school.
Yeah.
I wonder how much of what you see is really the lack in the south of having gone to 0 to 2.
I look at this.
Okay, that's it.
No, the problem is I
Hello,
look
everybody.
at this, but it didn't answer very much to my question, because the problem is that as I show, the early entrants comes from more educated family, a richer family as well. So it could be also the case that they pay for the 0 to 2, but they want to pay until a point and then to enroll. So you don't see that difference, because actually they go to 0 to 2, but maybe because just they're richer than the average, and so they have the possibility to do so. And they also, because they want to save a bit, they enroll earlier. So it's difficult to see. What I control is for 3 to 6, and actually there is not much difference in the year of 3 to 6. So yeah.
Any other questions? Online? I don't think so. Okay. So thank you, Giorgio Monti, for all these stimulations.